Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Story Seeker podcast. I'm so happy that you've joined me for the 7th episode in about 6 months since I started this. Not the most consistent podcaster ever, but hoping to be more consistent next year. It is what it is. As you can see, I'm in a bit of a more tropical location today. That's because I'm in Florida on a little family vacation over winter break, visiting my grandma. So yeah, and I decided if I have the option to record this podcast on a reclining chair and be very comfortable, why would I not choose to do that? So I took that choice. I'm anticipating that this podcast will be the most personal and maybe revealing one that I've made so far. Obviously I haven't recorded it yet, but that's what I'm expecting. We'll see what happens. I have no notes, but I have a lot of things that I've thought about talking about on the podcast the last few days, as I've sort of finally had a chance to step back from school and think about my first semester of college and where I want to go in the future and what I want to do now. So where do I begin? I talked about last podcast episode a little bit misleadingly about how when I finished shooting my short film called Sonder a week or two ago now, I had a feeling that, you know what, maybe this place is okay. Maybe I don't have to leave college. Maybe it's all right. It'll be my first time working on a passion project that I really cared about in a long time, and working on something that I really wanted to be proud of at the end of it. And it went pretty well. We'll see what happens. But actually I have to work on editing a rough cut of that film soon. But I said all of that last episode, and what I didn't say, which I forgot to say, I meant to say, was that the feeling right after that was a feeling of, is this, like, I was scared of that feeling that I had just had, that like maybe I shouldn't be content. I'm just scared that I was settling into this life of mediocrity that I didn't really want, but that was the path of least resistance. Just staying in school, finishing my degree, and then starting to work. And just, throughout the semester I've had lots of grievances about school and had lots of desires to do other things. Thought a lot about dropping out and what I would do if I wasn't in school, and all the things that I could be doing right now if I wasn't. And then like the idea of letting go of those feelings was really scary to me. I think it has a lot to do with the identity. A lot of everything I'm going to talk about today has a lot to do with the identities I possess for myself and just who I think of myself as. I think of myself as someone who's very ambitious, someone who's really hardworking and driven, and just like I feel like one of those a little bit like a young fitness influencers who on their birthday are really sad because all of their numbers and their physique sounds a lot less impressive since they're now 1 year older. I kind of feel that sometimes. I don't know, it's hard to talk about this without coming across as just like egotistical and rude, and I don't know, sometimes I feel like an asshole talking about it. But there's a quote that I've heard about, not a quote, but just results of a research study about the common traits of incredibly successful, like wealthy people. I'm not sure if it was wealthy, but incredibly successful people, however they defined that. And the 3 common traits were, oh, I have to remember this now. The 3 common traits were essentially behavior control, so like focus on the task at hand, not getting distracted. A crippling sense of insecurity, a feeling of not being good enough, and then also a superiority complex, feeling like they're better than everyone else and deserve more than everyone else. Maybe that's, I don't know if that's a good definition or not, but something like that. Please look this study up on your own to get actual information and not my poorly paraphrased version, but I consider myself, I think I heard that and I was like, I am all of those things. I have a sense of insecurity that I'm not good enough, that, I don't know, I'll never be enough no matter how much I do kind of feeling. And okay, behavior control, maybe not the best. Distractions, I get distracted plenty. But at times, I don't know, at times I can get into a sort of flow state and work really well and really focused. I don't know if I have that one. But I don't know, feeling of superiority, like, definitely had that too. And I don't know, like, the way I think of it somewhat is just that, like, I've spent a lot of time and effort working on my career, my professional pursuits throughout the last 5-6 years of my life. And I don't think that I'm like a better human being than everyone else, that I'm like just better in every way. But I think that all of the work that I've done on my career has disproportionately accelerated my career. And maybe because I've spent so much time working and doing those things, like, the other aspects of my life have suffered sometimes. My social life, at times. In high school, I don't know, like my senior year, for example, I didn't really feel like I had many, if any, close friends. I had a relationship situation that ended up kind of separating me from some of the friends that I had. I guess it was sort of isolating at times, and just ended up, like, senior year not being close friends with anyone, and losing some of the friendships that I'd had for a long time, and just pretty much just working, and I didn't mind that. I liked that, and during COVID it was the same thing, just working and getting really deeply invested in the things that I care about, and like, that's just how I like living life for the most part, I think, or at least I did think that, and now I'm a little bit confused, but I'll talk more about that hopefully. But so yeah, what I'm trying to say is I don't think of myself as better than everyone else. I think of myself as different from a lot of other people, in that I've focused more on work throughout my life so far, which has had a number of effects, both positive and negative. Not that whatever. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I always feel the need to, like, perfect the way I say these things, especially because they are so personal, and I never feel like I quite describe them correctly or as well as I could. But it is what it is. I'm just gonna keep moving and not talk about the same thing for a million years. How was I getting into this topic? Okay, so I have college so far, thoughts after first semester. I've really liked the experience of living at college. It's a fun place to be. I've made a lot of amazing friends, which is something I didn't take for granted because it's something I don't take for granted because I didn't have amazing friends throughout much of high school. And if you're my high school friend watching this right now, I love you. And nothing personal. I probably was good friends with you. But whatever. I hadn't had like enduring close friendships for the most part. There are exceptions. You're probably an exception if you're watching this. But for the most part. Where was I going with all this? I always get sidetracked with something stupid. Thoughts on first semester of college. Made some great friends, really happy about that. Had some great experiences. Spent a lot more time with my friends that I had in most of high school. And enjoying it and not like regretting it or feeling weird about it, or I was just doing it because I felt obligated to, which it was the case at some points in previous times in my life. And just like feeling good, like just I would get done seeing my friends and I would miss them. Like I would go back to my dorm and I would be alone and I'd be like, I want to be with them still. And that's something I didn't really experience. It was usually like, I'm happy that I'm away from them, and I felt like this introvert who lost, whose energy was drained by being with people for the most part, and then seeing, maybe that's actually not true. Maybe I just needed to find the right people, and maybe, yeah. So in that sense, great. The experience of living at school, pretty great. My dorm is really nice. The food is solid. Being able, I don't know, I walk a lot. I've gotten a lot more steps in since going to school because I walk to most of my classes. Just cool being around everyone. The nightlife, I'm not gonna go into any detail there, but it's fun. So yeah, like good college experience generally. And I'm glad that I've experienced that, because I could have said before going into school, I don't want to do this. I don't think that the education part is going to help me. And I would have missed out on some really great memories and happy times. On the other hand, the education side of school, which is, I don't know if it's the main part or not, depends on who you are, where you live, what school you go to, and just your individual experience. But film classes, for most of the semester, I really did not like them, did not feel like I was getting much out of them. Towards the end of the semester, I came to appreciate them more. I feel like I'm doing a lot of things with my hands, but maybe I just don't have anything to do with them, because I don't know. I came to appreciate my film classes more as the semester went on. My mic is still recording. And that was good. But in general, I don't know. Like, it's a lot of time. It takes up so much time. I have time for other things, but like, I'm pretty much either doing classwork, I'm either at a class doing classwork, or with my friends for like 80-90% of my time, I would say. Or doing something like eating. Like, there's not much there is free time. But I would much rather take that free time away from being in my classes than being with my friends. Like, I really like being with them, and past me with, like, high school me most likely would have been like, I would rather be in film classes than be with my friends. Like, I would rather just not spend time with my friends, and that's how I'll make time to do my own personal projects and like things I care about and work. But this time it's like, I would rather not go to my classes. I certainly can be with my friends less, but I don't want to do that. And for most people that sounds like, of course you don't, they're your friends. But for me it's like, that really means something. And like, just like I've always, not always, but often just like prioritized work over relationships. And so the fact that it's the other way around now is like, that really says something, both about the great friends I've made and also about not loving my film classes. Because like, if I really loved them, I would be just like so invested in them and would not want to let them go. Have there been cool parts of my classes? Have there been things that I've learned and picked up, and people, students, like my peers that I've learned from? And absolutely. And looking at their projects has inspired me, and especially towards the end of the semester, like, people made some really cool stuff and really impressed me. At the beginning of the semester, I'm gonna be honest, I came in and like, I didn't seem like anyone was really dedicated. Like most people didn't have much film experience, and I kind of discounted, like, I kind of discounted people. I'll be honest, and I was just like, I don't really want to work with, like, not I don't want to work with these people, but just like, I'm not inspired to work with these people specifically. Like, they're not like, I'm not like looking at their stuff and like, wow, I have to work with you. Like, you have these skills that I don't, you have this different perspective that I don't. And over the semester, I learned that like my first impressions were wrong, and people did have more, I did have more to get from them. That sounds weird and transactional, but like, I did have more to learn from them than I realized, and people have made cool projects that have impressed me and surprised me and inspired me in my own work. And there's people, and I've talked about this already, all different backgrounds and just with unique perspectives on life that I didn't get, and didn't have as much in my town, which is somewhat of a bubble for relatively wealthy people. So yeah, like, it's solid. Like, I've gotten something from that, and I wish I could have gotten a lot more, and I feel like I could have gotten a lot more. Most of the projects we do are individual and not collaborative, and that has disappointed me because I had a feeling that my film classes, I wouldn't get the most from like the film content, but that what would really be valuable to me was the connections with fellow artists and collaboration with them and working with them. Because in my previous experiences with formal film, TV education, that has been my biggest takeaway. It's just like incredibly strong bonds built with fellow creators and artists. And I haven't really felt that yet, and I don't know what it is. Like, I legitimately can't put my finger on, I don't know. Like, at first it was just like, I'm not inspired by the people around me so much, like, and again, this sounds really like, I don't know, egotistical, like rude, but I don't know any other way to say it. Or I don't know, I don't want to spend so much time picking out my words, because this podcast will be 3 hours long and I won't get through anything and it'll be really boring. At first I wasn't inspired by the people around me, and then I came to be inspired by them more, and yet I still just feel like something's wrong, like something's not right, something is different from the other times I've been in these formal educational environments where we just made such strong bonds and I felt so connected to the people that I worked with. And I think part of it is that we haven't had much collaboration. And I think there's something else, and I think there's also something that's just me. Like, maybe it's just me. I've talked with other people and they have expressed similar feelings in a lot of cases, but I think there is an aspect to it. It's just like, it's me. Like, I don't fit in here, maybe, or like, not just not fitting in, but I think the biggest thing that I realized I had a long talk with my parents. We walked and talked here, and like had some really good thoughts and conversation and conflicting ideas, but like rich conversation. And I'm trying to pull from that and get back to the thoughts that I had there. Just the feeling of like, I just spit. The feeling of being aimless. Like, why am I here? What is the purpose? And I think I mentioned in my last episode, or one of my episodes, the feeling of like just not having anything I've made in the last semester, personal or school, that I'm really proud of, which really sucks. And I don't know, that's part of it. But just like the aimlessness of like, why am I here? What am I doing? What is the purpose of this? And whatever the purpose is, it's usually like, I think to myself like, oh, it's to, I don't know. I'm finding this really hard to articulate. Sorry for the silence. I'm trying to find my place. I can cut this out, but I also feel like, I don't know, kind of want to leave it in. Let's show what it's like. I'm totally losing my train of thought now. Aimlessness. I think my yeah. So my dad was saying to me like, you know, if you stayed in school and graduated and like things didn't change that much, but like, you know, you went through the rest of school, you did it, and then graduated and then started working after that instead of dropping out and starting to work, like, I think he was saying, like, would there be any negative effects of that other than just, like, losing a couple years of time, like, just being set back a couple years? And, I don't know, he said it in a slightly different way that made more sense, but, I don't know, I was like, no, not really. Like, it's just, there's no real disadvantage to doing that. Like, I wouldn't be in a worse position. It would just take longer to be in the same position. Like, it would be fine. But just the idea of being in school feels so aimless and purposeless. And again, I've gotten things out of school, but like, it drags me away from what I care about most. And my mom was talking about, like, I think just the idea that they were both talking about, like, just talking about the positive things I can get out of school and the positive things that I've already gotten, and all of that, and like how my dad was saying that there are certain things he appreciates about how college changed his worldview that like he never even realized until, 15, 20 years after he graduated. And so it's not all of the benefits are obvious up front, and I totally understand that. But like, I just don't have, it doesn't have a purpose to me. Like, the benefits of it are great, but like, I don't know, like, I'm gonna be in school because I want to like meet people and talk to people from a variety of backgrounds and get more perspective on the world and how different people live and all these, like, those are great benefits of going to school, but like that's not like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a purpose to like to strive for. That's not like the one reason why you go to school. Or like, I'm gonna next semester try to study more like different subjects besides just film, like take less film classes and more classes in philosophy and religion and other things that interest me, and like that's cool, and like there are benefits of doing that, and maybe I'll take philosophy and be like, yes, this is it, I want to major in philosophy. But like, I don't know, I think the chances of that are relatively low, and like, I don't know, it just feels like it's like a side quest. Like I know that this is not what I truly want to do right now. Like, I would rather just be doing the work than like exploring these other options. Like, it's just like, it's a filler episode on a TV show, you know? Like it's just doing something that I want to do less instead of something that I want to do more. And again, I understand that there are like good things that can come out of it and things that I won't get from not being in school and dropping out and doing my own thing, and I understand that. There are trade-offs to everything. But like, it's just not what I want. Like, that's just what it comes down to, is like, it's not that I don't want to be in school. It's that I want to be working. I don't know, it's a bit of both, but like, it's not truly that I don't want to be in school. I guess the reality is, like, if I didn't care about the work that I was missing out on, that I didn't have the time for, and I'm not just saying paid work, like just the time to make podcasts, to make short films, to make passion projects, to make anything, to make social media content, like all the things I care about, and the paid work and everything. If I didn't have these things that I wanted to be doing, I'd be fine with school. Like, I wouldn't be running away. It's fine. But I do have these things, and so I am running away from school because I really want to do these things, and I want to do these things more than I want to be in school. I think that's just the reality of it. And so, like, it does feel a little aimless being in school, even though there are great things about it, because it's not what I really want to do. Like, it's not the main thing I care about. It's not advancing me towards, I don't know, I'm saying the same thing a million times. This podcast is like frustrating me so much, but I hope that you can understand what I'm trying to say and like the passion I have for it. Again, like, you can tell me over and over again like the benefits of staying in the school and like the things I'll get from it that maybe I don't realize, and that's great. And like, even if that's true, even if that's like, this is just what I want to pursue. And if I stay in school, what am I pursuing? I don't want to leave my friends. I've made amazing friends in college. I don't want to leave them. Like, that's sad, that's scary. And yet, like, I'm not going to school to be friends with a bunch of people. That's not what I'm pursuing in school. It's an amazing side effect of it that I'm really happy that I've had, and will be really sad to miss out on. And that's not the reason to do it. Like, it's just, I don't know. Just priorities, I guess, at the end of the day. Which is harsh, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know if I have anything more to say. I definitely have more things to say that if I don't say anything else and end this podcast here, I'm gonna like look back on it and be like, oh my god, there's so many things I meant to say that I didn't talk about. I feel like I had so many other things next semester we're gonna do things a little bit differently. We're gonna see how it goes. I don't know. I want to drop out. Like, that's all. I think that's all there is to say about it at this point. Sometimes I feel like I'm driven crazy over things that are just not that big of a deal. Not that it's not that big of a deal. Like, it is a big deal whether I stay in college or drop out. But like, I think I don't know. I feel like plenty of people would listen to what I just said and just be like, why are you making yourself mad over this? Like, just drop out. Or just stay in school. But like, don't make yourself crazy about it. And I don't know. Maybe I am making myself crazy. Like, I certainly think about it a lot. I don't think it's I don't think it's a really bad thing, because it's almost like fantasizing about a better life. Like, not a better life, but like, it's kind of like fantasizing about what I wish I was doing as like a happy thought. See what time it is, just okay. I don't think it's like a terrible thing, but I am always thinking about stuff like this. Just thinking into the future and thinking critically about what I'm doing. You know, questioning why I do the things I do and trying to do what is best. I don't know. Making some of the harder decisions and I don't regret at all, if you're wondering, like, going to school. 100% I don't. But you can also not regret something in it. I mean, okay, you can not regret something and have it be the worst of two decisions. Sort of, I don't know. But I truly don't regret it, and I don't think it was, like, I'm happy with my decision to go to college and where I decided to go and how it turned out. And I think I will also be happy about my decision to leave college if I end up doing that. I feel like I just, like, came out to my family, because I know some of my family watches this who I've not talked to very this intensely and bluntly about my feelings about school, and I'm guessing that I will have some pushback from you all, but there's the whole argument that I've been told many times about just the idea that I have to have a degree, I have to graduate college for jobs and stuff, and just, I don't know, and I disagree with that. I don't plan to want to do many jobs which require a degree. It does scare me that the world is changing so quickly and that the job market is changing so quickly. And I'm not sure that a college degree is really going to help that much. Especially like film. What the hell is film going to do for me? Like, let's be serious. For years and years, I've been against the idea of like college being the default place to go, and that everyone has to get their degree and get their, and then whatever. Anyways, yeah, I think I'm gonna end this podcast here because my family and I are gonna go swimming, which should be fun. This has been really blunt and messy and scrappy, and I don't know how well I get my point across, and I'll probably end up talking a bunch about this in another episode to clear some things up and talk more, but thank you for listening. please comment your thoughts if you have advice or thoughts of any kind, criticisms, whatever it is. Please throw them in the comments. I love reading any comments and all comments. And I very much appreciate you listening to the end of this podcast. If you did this, you're listening right now, it means a lot to me. Alright. See you in episode 8.